Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, wherever you are on the globe, to today's two-part show, courtesy of Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod, part of the ever-growing ThreeBod Rugby Group. I'm Big Joe Shep, Chief Bloke and founder of the ThreeBod Rugby Group. Joining me today is my very, very good friend and one of our co-leads on our Welsh Rugby Roundup show, The Dragons Balls, Brandon Smith. Bran, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Looking forward to this draw. It's been a long time since we've seen some European rugby, so very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, very much. And as you will all see, I am in the very, very picturesque, beautiful city of Lucerne in Switzerland. We're somewhere down there in about 15, 16 minutes time. The draw for this season's EPCR European Champions and Challenge Cups round of 16 and the quarterfinals will take place. Today, as ever, to both parts. I forgot. Part two, this is part one. Part two, it's the live draw today. So we'll stay with you through that and we'll have a bit of a sort of look-see at both of the round of 16s in just a second and who gets home advantage in those, which is quite interesting as well. And then tonight at 8 p.m, 2000 hours, UK and Ireland, and global equivalent times, we have part two, where a carefully selected panel, hosted by myself as ever, will be looking, deep diving, if you will, into this year's draw, and we'll see what the panel think of that. So join us tonight. There'll be a separate link. There's a separate link already up on the ThreeBod Rugby Group page, and that'll be shared out to all the usual groups and forums, and a huge thank you, as ever, to the admin forums and moderators who support what we're doing by allowing the links to go in. If you've got any questions, any thoughts, then throw them up today from myself and Brandon. Both today, this show and tonight, are brought to you by our good friends at coffeedog.ie. And there we go. And specifically now, the new partner sponsors to the Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod show in its own right. Shep's Blend, yes, premium ground coffee, beans that are made in the likeness of my good self, Big Joe Shep, Shep's Blend. Thank you to Johnny Pullen for that. So everybody now can wake up in the morning with Shep. Scary thought for some of you, I know, but there you go. It is available. An awesome coffee to start your day off to keep you going. So go to coffeedog.ie and look for Shep's Blend and tell them that Big Joe Shep and Bod sent you. Right, on with the show. So, Brand, round of 16 and the quarterfinal draw. It's very interesting, isn't it, this year? I'm almost a bit more excited the way it's being done, because I think actually they've put a bit of anticipation into it. They found a way around COVID and the lockdown, and it's added a little bit more zing for me. I sort of woke up this morning and thought, it's a necessity the way they've done it, but isn't it exciting? You know, there's something about cup draws and cup competitions which just makes things a little bit different.
Yeah, this competition is very historic, isn't it? I can't say much as an Ospreys fan, to be honest. I know for you as a Leinster fan, this competition has a lot of sweet memories for you, but it's going to be a really interesting draw this year. We see, from a Wales perspective, 4 Welsh regions involved in either competition, and we see a lot of clubs who maybe aren't usually there, and maybe some clubs who aren't performing as well in their domestic leagues coming into this, and this may be the only way they can get success this season. So there's a lot on the line for a lot of teams. Of course, there'll be some big names in the draw that we're going to be keeping an eye out on, but really excited and interested to see how this draw comes out.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon is producing today's show. Thanks very much for that, buddy. And very shortly, probably about 8 or 10 minutes, we will be going live across to follow the draw. So just stick up and give them a bit of a taster of what they're likely to see. Can I share our screen? There we go. That's where they are now. They're getting ready. At 20 past, the draw for the Champions Cup takes place, so we'll be following that live as it comes out and having a look at that. So, but in the meantime, let's just let's put up the Champions Cup, mate, and let's see who are the teams in the round of 16. Don't forget, in the round of 16, no teams from any fellow league can play each other, so that adds a little bit more to the twist. But the Champions Cup teams that are left in are Racing 92, powerful, strong team from France there. 4 times winners, my own Leinster Rugby, Wasps, Bordeaux Begler, Munster, going well at the moment to sing. Strong pack. There we go. Lyon from France, Toulouse, Stade Toulousain, La Rochelle, Scarlets from Wales, Saint Clement Auvergne. You can never write off Bristol Bears. Aren't they doing well in the English Premiership? Exeter Chiefs. Last year's double winners, the Champions Cup and the English Premiership champions. Edinburgh Rugby, great to see. I'm hoping that they get a bit of a run in this, and we'll see how that goes. Gloucester, Racing Toulon, RC Toulon, Sale Sharks, and just note there are what have we got? 5 teams there who are guaranteed home matches only in the round of 16. Racing 92. Leinster, Wasps, Bordeaux Begler and Munster all guaranteed home matches in this round of 16. And don't forget today, we'll have the draw for the round of 16 and they'll also have the draw for the quarterfinals as well. Brandon.
Yeah, it's a really interesting group of teams, isn't it? I'm very excited to see how these teams go. As I said before, keeping a close eye on the Welsh regions as well. Ospreys in the Challenge Cup this year, doing okay in the league. And as I said before, for some teams, it's going to be really important, this competition. It might be the only way they can get success this season, as, of course, the Pro 14 final has already been decided. Leinster and Munster will be taking part in that. So, of course, some teams will be fighting for Europe for next season in their domestic leagues. But it's going to be interesting to see who gets who, and hoping for a good draw for the Welsh regions in particular.
Do you fancy, who would you fancy in the Champions Cup at this stage?
In the Champions Cup, it's difficult to look past some of the French sides. Racing, very, very strong team, although they lost against Toulon, I believe it was, on the weekend. Leinster, just like very experienced, know how to get the job done in this competition. It's very difficult to look past them 2 sides. Munster have done well in the Pro 14 this season, obviously into the final, very historic in this competition as well. I think those are the teams to look out for. Surprises, Clermont, maybe, very strong team, but potentially could prove an upset. Scarlets are very historic in this team, but kind of having a mare season in the Pro 14, not really doing that much, but not really losing that much either. So for me, Racing is the team to watch, and with probably the best fly half in the world at 10, it's very difficult to look past them winning this one, I think.
Oh man, Finn, yeah, it was, and of course Zeebs is there as well. So it's always, always interesting. Don O'Callaghan. So there's lots of sort of usual suspects that we know from some of these teams. It will be interesting. Gregor Galway, I see, is on. Let's hope our Pro 14 teams get a good draw. I'm hoping so. I just think it's Debbie Knight. Deb's looking forward to seeing you on part 2 tonight, 8 p.m. Debbie Knight from Sport 365 on that. The Hammer, Rob, the Hammer Schmidt. Good man. Shout out to Mike and Brandon Smith. Good man, Rob, from the MLR podcast team over there in the States. Looking forward to the 20th for the start of the USA Major League Rugby season. And that's a great site to go to, the MLR, the Rugby Rant podcast. The guys there all cover all the MLR stuff, Rob and Scotty Ferreira, and obviously we host Ty Braga. So that's my recommendation, to go and listen to them. And just another, while we're just on the MLR, tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have episode 5 of the New England Free Jacks with Rugby, World Rugby Sevens commentator Dan Stanford. I'm doing that, so we'll be looking, because it's a really exciting time. But for now, back to Europe. Oh, I just love this scene behind me. Beautiful, beautiful city of Luzern in Switzerland, by the power of technology. And somewhere down there, in about 6 minutes' time, the draw for this season's EPCR European Champions and Challenge Cups round of 16 and the quarterfinals will take place. Don't forget, round of 16, the teams can't play each other from the same league, so that adds a little bit into the mix there if we needed anything else to add into the mix. But that doesn't count when it comes to the quarterfinals. It is just a fairly straightforward quarterfinal shootout from whoever you get. So that will be interesting to see. So we had a look at the Champions Cup there. Let's ping up the Challenge Cup, mate, and see who we've got in there. Again, look, the Exiles are there, London Irish, Ospreys. Who would you say at the moment is your top, excuse me, overall, your top Welsh region, mate?
At the minute, I'd love to say it's the Ospreys, although we lost against the Dragons on the weekend, which was pretty shambolic. But looking at the league this year, under Toby Booth, we've really formed a state of stability, bringing in the likes of Stephen Myler on a free contract, on a free transfer. Sorry, he's been fantastic. Really stabilised the team and helped us to do the simple things very, very well. I think the Scarlets have put in some decent performances recently. We saw them beat Edinburgh in a fantastic game up in Scotland recently. The Dragons got a big win against us, but they've had a very poor season, only won one this year. So for the Welsh regions, I think we're probably the strongest. But as I said, we don't really have much pedigree in this competition. Cardiff Blues, very historic, have won it a couple of times. So it's going to be interesting. But for the Dragons, they have nothing to play for in the Pro 14. They can't get Europe in the Pro 14. So this might be something that they look to achieve something in. It's going to be interesting. But looking at the Challenge Cup now, for me, you look at the likes of Quins, who are flying in the Prem. You look at Leicester, who are a very historic team as well. London Irish are very strong. So you look at them teams and you're thinking, yeah, and with those two home ties for Irish and Leicester, that could play a big part in this game, I think.
Yeah, very much so. Like I say, you'd never write off Cardiff Blues. Doesn't matter how their season is going. Twice winners, the comeback a couple of years ago was absolutely phenomenal. Zebra Rugby, excuse me, obviously in the Challenge Cup and Benetton as well. Both of them in there, so it'll be interesting. Falcons Ulster. Going strong this year. Still probably a year out from probably where Coach Dan McFarland wants them to be, but I wouldn't be writing them off at all. Personally, I think that if we just go back to those teams again, brother. Bath, Montpellier, Quins, like you say, Saints. Look at the history the Saints have had in some of the battles that they've had with Leinster over the years. It's I saying before we went live, I find this quite a strong competition, the Challenge Cup. I don't know, I just look at some of those teams and think, do you know what? There's going to be some humdinger of matches there. Edinburgh, obviously in the Champions Cup, but the Warriors, it doesn't seem right necessarily seeing them in the Challenge Cup, not having the best of seasons.
No, certainly not. Both Scottish sides have been struggling quite a bit in the Pro 14 this season. Very difficult to understand why. Edinburgh had a very good season last year. Glasgow obviously have won the competition before and are historically been up there with the likes of Leinster, but struggling this season. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do this year. Okay,
and I believe that the draw is starting. So Let's cut directly to that. Oh, the excitement's building, I tell you.
There we go. There we are. So the draw has started. So a few of the draws have been done, but we'll keep you updated on what they are. Let me just get the volume up here.
Tie later on in proceedings here. Opponents please for Connacht Rugby in match 7 we're in.
Okay, can we cut back to the live
semi-finalists last season, the twice European champions.
Is that not coming through?
No, I'm not seeing it on my.
Okay, let me have a look if I can get it up on their YouTube. Okay, let's try it this way. Let's try it through the Facebook.
Because I'm just looking at their own site at the moment, and it's not showing.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Cool. Let's do it this way then.
Who will be at home for the match?
There we go.
Dragons.
So that's the
Ulster Rugby at Harlequins Benetton Rugby and Agen, Zebre Rugby Club and Bath Rugby, and Glasgow Warriors and Montpellier.
Wow, there's some.
La dernière étape du tirage pour les huitièmes de finale.
En français, we'll turn her down.
I thought they were. It said on the link that they were doing the Champions Cup and then the Challenge Cup. They've obviously done it the other way around and started it early. So we apologise to everybody. We were looking forward to the draw as it was coming out, but there we go. I think here we go now into the. This will be for. So the first draw there was for the round of 16. And we'll go back to that and have a quick look at that shortly. And this is now the knockout stage draws for this year, 2020-2021. And that was Dragons and that was Northampton Saints there.
Passons au match 4, puisque nous savons déjà que les Ospreys accueilleront les Newcastle Falcons et que les London Irish accueilleront les Cardiff Blues. Maria, s'il te plaît, peux-tu mettre les boules de l'Ulster et des Harlequins dans le Ulster papier. Harlequins.
Ulster and Harlequins.
Merci, Maria.
Good tie, that.
Yeah, very much so.
Attacking rugby, both teams like to play.
Match 4, ce sera donc les Harlequins qui accueilleront à domicile le club de l'Ulster. Passons
Ulster
au
and Connacht, that'll be an interesting game as well, actually.
Benetton.
Western travelling across.
Agen jouera à domicile. Maria, peux-tu mettre les boules dans l'urne, s'il te plaît? Benetton Rugby.
Let's see who Benetton get.
Agen.
Ooh.
Merci Maria. Ben, c'est à toi.
Rugby.
On a donc compris, c'est le Benetton Rugby qui accueillera Agen.
Benetton against Agen.
Pour le match.
Yeah.
Benetton haven't won a game this year in the Pro 14, although they've been very unlucky with a lot of the games.
Maria, mettre les boules dans l'urne, s'il te plaît. Zebre Rugby Club.
Good point there from Harry Russell on Ulster. Hopefully it'll be at Ravenhill. Kingspan. It would be difficult to call that one at the Stoop. I think that's it's going to be an interesting game.
Cela signifie que pour le match 6, ce sont le Zebre Rugby Club. Les
Zebra
Zebre
against
et
Bath.
le
That's a
Bath.
tough game for Zebra, isn't it? That's a very tough game for them.
On va passer au match 8, puisque vous le savez, pour le match 7, les Leicester Tigers accueilleront le Connacht Rugby. Passons donc maintenant à Glasgow et Montpellier, Maria, s'il te plaît.
Debbie Knight, Deb's put an interesting point there. How big advantage actually is a home game with no crowd? We know that there are some teams, Clermont being one of them, where home advantage with the crowd is it's just one of those things to be seen and experienced. But do you think it makes a big difference, Kidder, on with no crowds there, home advantage now?
Not as much, obviously, as it would if the fans were there, but I still think it does make a difference. Some stadiums have an aura about them, have maybe a fear factor about them. I think of places such as Welford Road, as Glasgow get Montpellier there, which will be a big game as well. But, I mean, you go into your own stadium, you know the way you warm up, you know how everything is sorted, you know where everything is, there's that familiarity, there's that home feel of it. And that can affect on players, but obviously not having the crowd on you, not having the certain players on your back, it doesn't make as much of a difference.
Yeah, Colin McConaughey just saying there, Ulster now away to Harlequins seem to be a double draw. Not quite sure what that is there.
Yeah, but that is the full draw there. I think Leicester against Connacht could be a fantastic game. London Irish Blues looks good. Ospreys Newcastle's good. Dragons with a very, very difficult draw there, you got to say.
Montpellier versus Glasgow, yeah, that's going to be hard for the Warriors to travel, I think. But two home games for the Italian teams, Benetton and Argent, against Bath. Again, a bit like the Italian national side, some of the results sometimes don't belie how well they've played and how close they've come. So, one certainty, not winning any games this season. It's been close sometimes.
Yeah, I think Benetton have been really unlucky this year. Very, very unfortunate. I think they've lost some games by like 2 points here and there, throwing the game away in the last minute. But as you said, this is the quarterfinal draw, by the way. As they said,
Colin's right. I was getting slightly confused myself, and then we came into it slightly late. But they drew. Can you stick his comments up there, mate? From Colin McConaughey. Yeah, they drew who was playing who, and again to see who was home or away. I think it's a bit confusing. It is, mate. Yeah, I was a tad confused myself trying to keep up with that because I saw the draw and then the names went back in again. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I figure you have to sort of jump back to.
Thank you, Maria. Ben, could you please draw the first ball? That will be the home club. Quarterfinal 1.
But I think this competition is really interesting this year because with the Pro 14 with no playoffs this season, as I said before, a lot of these teams don't have anything to play for in the competition anymore. Again, in the Premiership, some of the teams are struggling more than others. Bristol are more than likely going to win the league this year, looks, although Exeter did pick up a win on the weekend. So, yeah, it's there's a lot to play for some teams here. And again, with no fans, that will really play a big part in the competition.
That's fine. Indeed. Will be the winner of Benetton Rugby or Argent. So Montpellier or Glasgow Warriors, Benetton Rugby or Argent in
There we go, into the quarterfinals now. So the winners of Montpellier and Glasgow Warriors to play home to play Benetton Rugby or Argent.
Match 1. That's Dragons or Northampton Saints.
So the Welsh regions, who could they have if they beat Northampton?
2000.
Probably like a bit of positive thought there.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Dragons are in the Champions Cup is good, but it's also bad for them as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dean Ryan, as everybody knows, and I think again a year or so away from probably where he wants to try and get them to.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal 2 in this season's Challenge Cup.
So quarterfinal 2 there, we have Dragons, the Welsh region, against Northampton Saints. Will play the winners of Harlequins or Ulster. That's going to be quite interesting.
Bath Rugby, the winners of that time, will feature at home. Quarterfinal 3. Match 3. Positions will be either London Irish, Cardiff Blues, so Zebre Rugby Club or Bath Rugby, London Irish or Cardiff Blues. That leaves 2 balls remaining.
I think if you're a Blues fan, you certainly take that from a Welsh perspective because London Irish are a tough side, but Bath struggling in the Premiership this season.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think no disrespect to the other teams, but I think Cardiff and will be happy with that.
Quarterfinal 4, just to confirm 1 ball remaining. Then can you confirm the identity of their opponents?
And the final quarterfinal draw.
Will be the winner of the match in Swansea between Ospreys and Newcastle Falcons. So Leicester Tigers or Connacht Rugby.
I'll take that as an Ospreys fan because Leicester have been struggling this season. We've beaten Connacht away from home in the league so far this season.
Yeah. So there we go. Quarterfinal 4. Leicester Tigers or Connacht Rugby will play at home to Ospreys or Newcastle Falcons. Some interesting, intriguing games thrown up there, mate.
Definitely.
Yeah, quarterfinal 1. Montpellier or Glasgow Warriors against Benetton or Agen. Quarterfinal 2. Dragons or Northampton Saints versus Harlequins or Ulster. Quarterfinal 3. Zebre from Italy or Bath versus the Irish Exiles or Cardiff Blues. And finally, Tigers, former winners Tigers, or Connacht against Ospreys or Newcastle Falcons. Great, excellent.
Now we start the build up to the draws for the greatest club rugby show on earth. Coming up live are the draws for the round of 16 and quarterfinals of Heineken.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to today's show, brought to you by Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod. Part 1 now, watching the draw live. We've just had the Challenge Cup, and we're waiting for the EPCR Champions Cup round of 16, then the quarterfinal, and then part 2 tonight. Excuse me, at 8 p.m, where I once again will be hosting with a panel of lovely people, experts in their fields, representing some of the nations involved in both the Champions and Challenge Cups this year. It's 8 p.m. tonight. New link is already up on the ThreeBod Rugby group Facebook page, and we'll be going out on YouTube as well. So join us at 8 p.m. tonight. We'll be dissecting some of those games with the panelists even more. So yeah, really interesting in the Challenge Cup. Quite some exciting teams. I think even the away teams. I think most teams will be quite happy in that. And think that throws up something very, very interesting. I'm almost there now, wishing all the games away, and thinking, oh, wouldn't it have been great to have the semi-final as well. But have we got the dates? I think we got a screenshot there with the date, haven't we?
Yes, we do indeed. Yes,
for the round of 16. So there we go. The EPCR Champion Challenge Cup, the knockout stage draw. Obviously today, the round of 16, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of April. And then a week later, the quarterfinals, semi-finals there in May, Challenge Cup final on Friday the 21st, and the Champions Cup again in Marseille on Saturday the 22nd of May. Thanks very much for watching today, guys. And we'll continue now with we wait for the Champions Cup draw to see what it is. But who's your favourite for the Challenge Cup this year? Who do you think? Just stick up there in the comments. Who do you think is going to win, and who do you think is going to be an outside bet for you in the Challenge Cup and also in the Champions Cup as well? And think a little bit wider. Let's not be so parochial. It might not be your team. As a rugby fan, in fact, who would you like to see win as well in those competitions? So there we go. Anyway, you're welcome to Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod, brought to you today by our good friends at coffeedog.ie, and as ever, specifically by Shep's Blend. So you can now wake up every day with a bit of Shep. There we go. Premium ground coffee from our friends at coffeedog.ie. Go there and have a look for Shep's Blend. It is made in the image of moi. Why wouldn't you want to wake up with moi in the morning? Shep's Blend brings you all the best of Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod. There we go. And Deb's Knight saying it definitely won't be my team. You're right. You're going to be, the way things are going, you're going to be in Division 1 North next season, or the National Division 1. Saw an image this morning from the game the other day. Poor old Vincent Koch, the pack getting hammered. I saw a lot of people online saying that it was, it was bad for English rugby, bad for rugby general, seeing a team like Saracens. No, it's not. It's great for rugby, actually, because it just goes to show that any team can aspire. And this actually comes back to the whole wider issue again for other shows about, promotion and relegation and not ring fencing at all for any team. So I think it's great for rugby, and we wish them well. And I'm sure they'll bounce back. It's just, first game of the season, etc., etc., etc. Now be kind. We are being kind. Just saying it's good for rugby. That's being very, very kind. It is being very, very kind indeed. And it is part of that Darwinian society and life that we find ourselves in. So there we go. If you're good enough, you'll come back up. There we go. Debs are saying there. Stop Facebook messages come to me. Agreed, it is good for rugby, not for your heart though. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It was exactly the same. Exactly the same when Leinster, when we went through a certain period with a certain individual who cannot be named because I go into meltdown a couple of years ago, and we dropped into what was then the Challenge Cup, the Amlin Challenge Cup as it was. we won it, bounce back again, and then continue our rise. And so sometimes I think it's good for a team to have a small hiatus, whatever causes it, because everything goes in cycles and peaks and troughs and all those great things. And so it will be the same, I'm sure, for Saracens. Great to see Bristol Bears at the top of the league. Everybody was like, how are they going to do? Huge fan of Pat Lam. Huge fan of Pat Lam. He is somebody in the future who will become a test coach, I am sure. People like himself and Rob Baxter and the Conor O'Shea's of this world, who I've always been a big fan of and would like to see him doing well. I think Conor O'Shea did an awful lot more for Italy than most people realise. Given the challenges, Fab and Franco Smith will continue that, hopefully that growth going. But there are some real quality coaches out there who have proven track record. So for Pat and John Muldoon, obviously, former Connacht man, who went across there on the coaching tickets as well. So it is great for them to see that being done. So we're waiting patiently now here at the Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod team, hosted by my good friend from our Welsh Rugby Roundup show, the Dragons Balls, Brandon Smith, Big Joe Shep. You are welcome today. And yes, for anybody who's joined us late, we've had the Challenge Cup draw, and at 8 p.m. tonight. At 8 p.m. tonight, we will be sort of dissecting that as we go through. There we have it. So matches 1 to 8 in the round of 16. Dragons from Wales, the versus Northampton Saints. Ospreys, Wales, versus the Newcastle Falcons. The Exiles, London Irish against Cardiff Blues. That's going to be an interesting one. Quins versus Ulster. I think that's probably the standout game for me that I'll be looking forward to. Benetton and Argent, Zebre against Bath, Leicester Tigers against Connacht. I think that one could be quite a good open game, that one. And Montpellier versus Glasgow. It'd be great to see Glasgow get a win away on the road and start to sort of come back again. I always had a bit of a soft spot for them. But I think, London Irish and Cardiff Blues is definitely one of those standout games. Again, for everybody who's watching today, thank you. And if you have just joined us late, I'm here live in the beautiful city of Luzern in Switzerland, just down there. The draw has taken place live, so we thought we'd come to you from a little bit of technology today, and tonight we'll be somewhere else because we can just do that. So there we go. Let's see. We've got some other stuff happening in our chat. Ready to go let's jump back across now and see if we're ready to go for the Champions Cup draw. There we go. Look at that. And don't forget, in the round of 16, no team from the same league can play themselves. So, for example, the Guinness Pro 14, none of those 4 teams can play each other in the round of 16. However, that all changes in the quarterfinals. They will now go through the round of 16 games and then the quarterfinals for the Champions Cup as well. It is bloody exciting, I have to tell you. Some great. I think one of the things about if you're almost like Brand, the best and worst that we've seen of rugby as we've been coming back through and out of sort of COVID and lockdown is France was slightly ahead of the game, not only with the national team, but the top 14. That's the opinion I get, which has had a knock-on effect in both ways. I think there's been more stability there. So you'd have to be sort of looking to, sort of favour, the likes of Racing. Very, very superb, especially in a home game. Whoever gets them the round of 16 is going to be going, oh, Jesus. But Leinster, considering the numbers of players in the squad away with the Irish national side, the youngsters keep stepping up, and it's just almost methodical, workmanlike, just, plows on. But as we saw against Sarries, you can be going great, and then all of a sudden, if you just don't have that bit on the day, and you don't have your game management, and you don't adapt to what's happening in front of you, then it all goes. But who would be as a rugby fan, buddy? Who would be your wish to see win if it wasn't your own team?
I was going to say Ospreys, but it is very, very unlikely to happen. I do really like the look of Toulouse. They play some brilliant rugby. They've obviously got the best scrum half in the world in DuPont. Cheslin Colby, on the weekend played at 10 for them and played pretty well of what I gather. But obviously on the wing, he is just incredible. The step, the movement that he's got. And as you said, I think France are quite a bit ahead of all the other teams at the minute. And it's quite an interesting debate. I did a video recently on my own channel with the guys from Overlap Rugby about the difference between the 4 Irish sides and the Welsh sides, and the difference in level and quality as we see the top 2 in the Pro 14 in Conference A were Irish, and the top 2 in Conference B in the Pro 14 were Irish as well. And why is that the case? And I think France are a little bit ahead, England are a little bit ahead, then you've got Ireland, and then you've got us trailing a little bit behind them, maybe the Italian sides behind that. So what's great about this competition is that everyone can play anyone. And, we might have a few surprises along the way. But for me, Toulouse and Racing are the teams to watch in this year's competition. They've just been so good in their domestic leagues, and the way they play rugby, it's jouer, isn't it? It's just play at any opportunity, and they're just a joy to watch.
It was very interesting. Finn Russell was interviewed, produced the show for Pure Sport CBD about 8 weeks ago now, and Adam Ash, who's obviously just gone to the LA Giltinis, who interestingly bought up Matt Gitto, as announced last night. Giltinis plowing some money in there for the MLR, which starts on the 20th. But Adam was speaking with Finn Russell, and it's very interesting. Finn was saying that the way they he got very quickly before in France, they're allowed to go out and enjoy themselves. They have a laugh on the park when they're training. It's very it's serious what they're doing, but they're enjoying it and they're allowed to enjoy it. I think that changes the mindset of a player, allowing to go out, because look how well the Irish teams are doing, and yet that hasn't transposed itself in any way to the Irish national side. So whereas for the French, I think it has massively. So
here we go. Wales, isn't it? It's the same with Wales. The regions, no disrespect to the regions, but the quality of rugby just isn't there. And yet the national side this year, yes, we've had 2 red cards in the first 2 games, but thoroughly deserve to beat England. Questionable refereeing decisions maybe, but we deserve to beat England. And look, we're going for a Grand Slam. No disrespect to Italy at all. I'm very confident we'll beat them with a bonus point. And then France will be the big test, won't it? Can we beat France in Paris as the draw here is getting ready to get going? Let me turn the volume up just so we can hear.
Yeah, let's just get the excitement of the voices, although majority of them print. Ben is on there. Ben Coles, good afternoon, gents. Decent draw for the Welsh regions and the Challenge Cup it is, and we look forward to seeing you tonight, Ben, as one of our guest panelists on pod. It's that anticipation building.
Toulon.
A fair play to EPCR, for being able to sort of put something like this together. So, 2021 Champions Cup.
So many big names, aren't there? You're just looking at some of the names coming out there: Toulouse, Racing, and a whole host of other names coming out, which will be coming out. And these are really the powerhouses of European rugby, aren't they? And yeah, it's just so interesting, different styles. I did a watch along for Leinster against Ulster on my channel, and the different contrasting styles between the 2 teams. But I felt like Leinster were back to their best against Ulster. They were just so dominant and so physical. So are you confident going into this European competition, do you think, as a Leinster fan?
Yeah, I think I am. I think I am. There's a lot of rugby being sandwiched through, but I'm fairly content that we will get a good run of this without shadow.
Dans le match 4, Maria, peux-tu tirer au sort le 5e club du top 14?
And this is the round of 16, ladies and gents. Don't forget, that none of the teams in the round of 16 can play each other from their respective league. So nobody in the top 14, the Pro 14, or the English Premiership can play one of the sides in there. Debbie Knight said she's sticking with Leinster for the Champions Cup. Good girl. Thank you, Deb.
How much have you paid her? No, I think Leinster will always be strong. They've got pedigree in this competition. They're winners at the end of the day. They know how to get the job done.
Finish it.
And yeah, as I said, against Ulster, they just dominated physically. They bullied Ulster physically, and that's why they won. So those are the home teams.
There we go. Match 1 home side Toulouse, match 2 La Rochelle, match 3 ASM Clermont Auvergne, match 4 Lyon, 5 is Toulon, 5 French teams, 6 Bordeaux Begler.
The next day, we draw the clubs for match 8, and we know that this match will be between a club from the Premiership and a club from the Pro 14. So Ben, can you please take the Premiership club balls? That's Wasps, Bristol Bears, Exeter Chiefs, Gloucester Rugby.
I think Bristol could be a dark horse in this competition. Semi Madrada's back fit next month, I believe it is. So just in time for the competition to kick off, and he is a special player. He does things that should be illegal on the pitch. Really, the amount of ability he's got, he's an incredible player, and Bristol just seems to have a system that works so well for them.
I think they've surprised a lot of people this year that they've done so well, and like I say, fair play to Pat Lam and the coaching staff, and to the players. They play some quality rugby. I've watched them play twice.
They do, and I think people, you know, when you think of Bristol, you think of attacking rugby, but do you think about the defence? Do you think about, can they hold their set piece together? Can they be disciplined enough? And the answer is yes. And although, of course, no Saracens in the league this year, they've done so well. And although, as I said, other teams have slipped off, they've kept their quality and kept the level and consistency up throughout the season.
And we've just had somebody from the team, from the ThreeBod Rugby group, afternoon all from the lunch break. I wonder whether that's the Night King, probably, I suspect. Edge Quigley.
Here we go. Here comes the draw.
Sale Sharks.
Sale Sharks.
Maria, that's Sale Sharks of the Premiership confirmed in match 8. Now we know that Sale Sharks.
So only one English team with a home draw. The Pro 14 teams are all going to have to travel away, potentially, at this point.
Not forgetting there are teams like Leinster are guaranteed, and Racing, I think Wasps are the other one guaranteed a home.
Could you place only the Pro 14 balls back in the draw and to draw a club, please?
Oh, there's the excitement built here for the 2021 Champions Cup round of 16 draw, which will be followed directly after by the quarterfinals.
Leinster Rugby.
There's Leinster.
Munster Rugby.
Munster Pro 14 finalists, of course. Being Connacht on Friday night, 20 points to 17, I believe it was.
Scarlet.
Thank you,
And
Maria.
sandwiched in now, Pro 14 final sandwiched in. No playoff, sandwiched in between the last of the. Here we go, Sale Sharks and the Scarlets.
Big challenge that for Scarlets. Can they stop Faf de Klerk?
Ces deux clubs sont assurés de jouer à domicile. Mais tout d'abord, Maria, peux-tu retirer toutes les boules de lion, s'il te plaît?
Absolutely. That's a hard run on the road, that, against the Sale Springboks.
No comment. No comment.
I'll get some grief for that. The next Springboker.
Principe du tirage, le Racing et Bordeaux peuvent seulement affronter des clubs de Premiership ou de Pro 14. Commençons d'abord par l'adversaire du Racing.
That they can't play
Side,
which is predicted separately.
Pro 14, sauf celle de Wasps, Leinster et Munster, et tire ensuite une.
You're right, Debs. It's harsh but true.
Bristol Bears. Exeter Chiefs. Gloucester Rugby.
Gloucester having a very, very poor season, aren't they? At the minute in the Premiership. They're lucky they got Louis Rees-Summit, to be honest.
Ben just saying the fair play, the Scarlets have come about as well as they could have, considering the French.
Racing 92 à domicile dans le match 7 face à Edinburgh Rugby.
So, Edinburgh.
That's a tough game. It's a tough game.
Well, I wonder what John Anderson, Ian Hay, Cammy, and Haldy Pottinger will be thinking for one of the Scottish clubs away at Racing.
Bristol travelling to Bordeaux.
The next step is to complete the draw
Interesting.
for the round of 16 matches. We have 5 still to be decided, and with a further reminder that Leinster, Wasps, and Munster are certain to play at home. So, Ben, can you place the remaining balls into the drum for our club, please?
Oh, the excitement builds. Munster, Leinster, Wasps. Who's going to get who?
That's the Rugby.
Here we go. Leinster into the pot.
Oh,
Munster Rugby.
I tell you, I'm all excited. So much to do today. Oh, too early for Malbec. Asking for
Munster Rugby. Thank you, Ben. So that
some
means
great history, isn't there, with some of these teams in this.
one where they will continue their rivalry down many a year in the Heineken.
Munster against Toulouse. What a game that will be at Thomond Park.
Between those two clubs, they come together. In the round of 16.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
That has got to be one of the games of the tournament, regardless of the other games of the round of 16. Phenomenal. Munster Rugby at home. Fortress Thomond.
Gloucester Rugby. La Rochelle and Gloucester Rugby together again. Of course, they famously met in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. That was
Rochelle and Gloucester.
17. We'll find out.
Tough game for Gloucester, yeah.
It is, yeah. Especially where they are at the moment.
Champions Cup ran at 16.
They've been out St. Paul, Edinburgh, Conor Broomfield. Conor from the four Prime Provinces supporters group, who's one of our guests tonight. Yeah, wow, Munster and Toulouse.
They had 2 crackers in 2007, 8 in the pool stage, and we know that Wasps, as a result of their
Wasps
2 wins,
going away home to Clermont, so tough game for them as well.
This season's Heineken Champions Cup will have the home tie. So Wasps will play ISM Clermont down, finalists, of course.
They're saying La Rochelle to win that one, in her opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Gloucester are very short of confidence at the minute, aren't they?
So we're getting down to the last couple of teams now. Leinster, Munster,
Exeter Chiefs.
Exeter.
That's the holders, Exeter Chiefs, the 12th name on the Roll of Honour of this tournament's history. Lyon and Exeter Chiefs together in match 4. We'll find out later on.
Exeter Lyon. It's hard to know where Exeter are at the minute because they've got 2 games going into the week.
It's a home game against Toulon.
In match 5, Leinster Rugby.
Home game against Racing Toulon for the guys at the RDS. Will the men beat Wasps? And so look at that. Yeah.
We'll be in Dublin.
Look at that. That'll be a great game. That'll be a great game. I think Leinster, Toulon, and Munster, Toulouse were the 2 standout games for me. Very, very interested to those. Nothing against the other ones as well, but I'd love Edinburgh to turn over Racing. You know, I really want that for rugby. Great for Edinburgh. Great for Cockers. Richard Cockrell, the head coach. But Bristol Bears, I think you've got to say, against Bordeaux. Leinster, obviously. Exeter Chiefs and Lyon. Got to fancy Exeter, I think. Clermont Auvergne, La Rochelle, and Munster Toulouse. I wouldn't call. I wouldn't. Even
be the game of the round.
It's a bit close to almost like me with Leinster and Toulon. My head says, my heart says Leinster. My head says that's going to be a bloody hard game. But we're, I think the way we're going this season will be enough. But that's going to be wow. Yeah, right. There's some cracking games there, and he picks the Chiefs to win that one. Gregor Galway replying to Conor Broomfield saying, "What a clash! Superb." Debs, will the Nearly Men Wasps? Will the Nearly Men beat Wasps? You think so? Right, so there we are. That is the round of 16 games, some cracking games there. And now we're into the quarterfinals to see where we are there. So we'll just wait for those to come up. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to today's show. Part one of a two-part special looking at this season's EPCR Champions and Challenge Cups, courtesy of Three Blokes, a Bull and Bod. Part two tonight at 8 p.m. and we'll have some panelists on from countries represented in both the Champions and Challenge Cups. And they'll be dissecting the games more in a deep dive. And brought to you as ever by our friends at coffeedog.ie. And more especially Shep's Blend, the very, very best coffee that they have. All of their coffees are brilliant, different types. But go to coffeedog.ie and you can wake up with Shep. Why wouldn't you want to? Okay, so we're now waiting for the quarterfinal draw now that we've had the round of 16.
Yeah, I think that clash to lose against Munster looks really exciting, but also, there they are in front of us. Wow, some of the games. Wow.
So, Abdrahim Credu there, we have some cool designs at the company. Sure you do, fella, but you know, this is a show. Have the courtesy to send me a private message into the ThreeBod Rugby group. Don't just stick that up there because that's just, that's just going to be sort of taken down straight away. There we go. We're always happy to speak to everybody if you want to be a joint partner with any of the shows or with the ThreeBod Rugby group. But, none of that's just coming.
Thank you, Rolla. Let's quickly check again on those round of 16 matches, which will be played on the weekend of the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th.
Yeah, Munster will be hoping for a rainy Friday night in Fortress Thomond Park. For nothing quite like it. Absolutely great stadium. Bill Hannah says Munster will win the competition. Going well. They are going well this season. The Pro 14 final is going to be an interesting one, Bill, for sure. Charlie says what streamer we're using directly from EPCR.
I think for Scarlets, that's the best draw they could have wanted against Sale, except for obviously they couldn't get Edinburgh, which is something they'd have wanted, but Edinburgh, of course, are in the Pro 14. But apart from that, I think that's probably the best they could have got from a Welsh perspective. I think for Leinster, obviously, that's a massive clash. Toulon probably not as good as they used to be, maybe 6-7 years ago. And yeah, I think for Scarlets, just looking from a Welsh perspective, that's not a bad draw, but it's a very difficult game, very physical team, Sale, and they've got a yappy little scrum half. I know you're a fan of scrum half, so you'll enjoy that one.
Absolutely, yeah, very much so. So we're just waiting now for the quarterfinal draw. And again, a huge thank you to our friends at the European Professional Club Rugby for putting the draw on live, so everybody can feel part of it in the situation we still find ourselves where many are locked down. So to our friends at Heineken and to EPCR, thank you very much for that. It breaks up our day, allows a bit of engagement, and continues the great rugby tradition that we love doing, which is engaging about rugby. So thank you to both of those organisations for all they do for rugby.
So this is the quarter-final draw. So it's interesting. What do you think the mindset of clubs are? Do you think they can look forward to the quarterfinals, or are they just solely focused on the round of 16? What do you think?
No, I think actually the quarterfinals throw up for them. If we beat this team, then we're through to that. And I think it's a fab way of doing it personally. I know it's a more practical way what they've done, but I think for some teams it is without shadow of a doubt. If it was me, I'd be like, that would spur me on a little bit more. You know. Deb's 90 saying Faf de Klerk at Sale Sharks is probably second only now to Antoine Dupont, but a bit gobbier.
Maybe Cooney. I'd argue maybe Cooney. I'm not sure. Maybe.
autumn. I'll tell you who is playing very, very well has been Luke McGraw at Leinster. Very quietly getting on with this game. Very, very assured and very, very good the other night against Ulster. I like watching Luke play. So we're waiting now for the quarterfinal draws. We'll see. So there we go. Exeter Chiefs and against Leinster or Toulon. There's the biggie I ever want. Answers your question. If you ever want to win a game, to the next game, there you have it. That is a huge game. Huge game.
If Exeter win that, let's say you win that, that's a very physical game, isn't it? That's going to be very much who can win the battle, the physical battle, and win the breakdown and things like that. That'd be a massive game. I can't see it being particularly high scoring. I can see a lot of pick and go, but a tense game for sure. As we see, Wasps or Clermont will take on Munster or Toulouse.
Interesting.
All French clash there.
Yeah.
And we could see all French clash, of course, in the first one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to look past. It is hard to look past, even if you're looking at this as just purely a rugby fan. It's hard to look past some of the French teams because they're almost into more of a routine. I think than possibly the Pro 14 and the English Premiership sides for me, and I think we'll see that.
Well, the Pro 14's been a bit all over the place, hasn't it? Because we've got this Rainbow Cup coming in as well, which will be interesting. Of course, no playoffs this season, just a straight final. And maybe the French teams come into this.
That point will be discussed by our Leinster Lion team, by Conor Broomfield and Nathan Jones on Thursday. Gloucester and La Rochelle against Scarlets and Sale Sharks. All of those teams there have got to be happy with that one.
Not bad at all for Scarlets, that.
You know, all of those teams will be happy with that they've avoided, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting, of course, in the quarterfinals, teams from the same league can face one another. It makes it a little bit more spicy, maybe. Teams will be more aware of each other's threats and things like that, having played against them before.
And there's quarterfinal 4. Bordeaux Begler or Bristol Bears will play Racing and 92 or Edinburgh Rugby.
Could you imagine that Bristol against Racing? What a game that could be. Obviously, looking forward, potentially.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Edinburgh might beat Racing. Who knows?
Said before, I'd love for Richie Cocker to for him to go on the road and turn Racing over, just for rugby, because I just think it's great when the underdog wins sometimes. Wrong. When the underdog wins every time, really. It's not against Leinster, of course. So some really, really interesting games there. Brilliant, Debs. Yeah, catch you later. To reconcile. Bang, as you do. Ladies and gents, there we go. That was the EPCR round of 16 and quarterfinal draws for this season's Champions and Challenge Cups. Let's just part 2 tonight. Don't forget, 8 p.m. There's a new link up on the ThreeBod Rugby group now. That'll be pin posted in about sort of 10-15 minutes time. But I think we can just throw up the round of 16 draws there. If we still have them?
Yes, we got them for the Challenge Cup first of all.
Absolutely, there we go. So there's the 8 matches in the round of 16s. Dragons versus Northampton Saints, Ospreys versus Newcastle Falcons, London Irish Exiles there at home to Cardiff Blues, twice winners before Cardiff Blues, Harlequins against Ulster. Probably the standout game, I think, for me in that one. Benetton Rugby from Italy against Agen from France. Zebre from Italy against Bath. Leicester Tigers against Connacht, I think, also has potential to be really good. And Montpellier, again, home to Glasgow Warriors. And I'd love to see the Warriors win on the road to regenerate their season a little bit. There we go. That's the round of 16 for the Challenge Cup.
And then the Champions Cup.
There we go. Match 1, Munster Rugby versus Stade Toulouse. Full-time winners, Gloucester Rugby home to La Rochelle. Wasps versus Clermont Auvergne. Exeter Chiefs, current reigning champions from last year against Lyon. Leinster Rugby against Racing Toulon. Oh, it's some stars on the chest for those two teams. Bordeaux Begler home to current Premiership top high flyers Bristol Bears, or Racing 92 against Richard Cockerell's Edinburgh, and Scarlets against Saracens, Sale Sharks. I'm only having a bit of a giggle. There we go. There's the round of 16 for both of those. Thanks very much to everybody who has joined us for part one of the Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod special, the EPCR European Champions Challenge Cup draws. Huge thanks to Brandon Smith from Brandon Smith YouTube. Go to his YouTube channel for those shortcuts. Absolutely superb. And obviously you will catch him on our Watch Rugby Roundup show once a month on the Dragons Balls. 8 p.m. tonight. Link. We'll be on YouTube, we'll be on Facebook again, and we'll have a panel of people who will be dissecting those draws this evening. So join us at 8 p.m. Tonight. Thanks very much. There we go. There's the YouTube link for tonight's show as well. And like I say, you'll find the new link for tonight's show at 8 p.m. up on there as well. Brought to you, as ever, by our good friends that we support at coffeedog.ie. Bit of reverse psychology in promotions with the ThreeBod Rugby Group. We support other people generally. So coffeedog.ie, our favourite place to go for mixing rugby with coffee. It is owned by a rugby admin moderator on a nice rugby forum. And so go to coffeedog.ie and buy Shep's Blend so you too can wake up in the morning with the one and only Big Joe Shep. As scary as that might be. Until 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you, everybody who's been watching. And what about the semi-finals? Good point. The semi-finals, the draws for them will be done. My understanding is, Brandon, is that they are done as soon as the quarterfinals are finished as well. So there we go, Ron. Thank you. Join us tonight, mate, and tell us what you think about Andrea Troncon. Andrea Troncon, good man yourself. Always a pleasure. What Coffee Dog? Coffeedog.ie. Go to coffeedog.ie, and that's where you will get the best quality coffee, beans and ground, hot chocolate, chai latte tea as well. And you can go on there, and if you go to coffeedog.ie, Andrea, and look for Shep's Blend, mate, that's the one that was made and named after me. Always great to see you back on me. We look forward to see you on a show very, very soon. Until tonight, Brandon Smith, thank you.
Pleasure as always, mate. See everyone tonight at 8 o'clock as we look back at the draw and see if the Ospreys can win the Challenge Cup. Sorry. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Wishful thinking. From me, Big Joe Shep, from Brandon Smith. This is me in Lausanne, in Switzerland, where the draw has just taken place for both those. We'll see you at 8 p.m. tonight. Until then, go to meet on my Hugger Tagus Slangafol.